be out of town for the next 2 weeks. So I'm going to send out this recording next Monday as well as the following Monday. There'll be 2 recordings actually, so hope those are of service. And this is a donation-based class. I'm going to be putting my Venmo and PayPal here. Really appreciate your support to help keep this class going. So mindful movement, we're going to be meeting for about 50 minutes, probably about 45 minutes tonight. And this is a practice which is very much your practice. Take this time to really explore and pause when you need to. We work at about 50 to 75% of our max capacity, which for sometimes that can be really challenging, especially if you're a go person and used to maybe pushing yourself to an edge. So the challenge here in the practice actually is being present to what is arising, and it helps to slow down a bit. And if we relax effort, it can allow for all the possibilities of insight in our mind and in our bodies. So trying to think if there's anything else I'm forgetting. Paying attention to the quality of your movement is really important as well. We like to follow the breath, if that's possible for you, meaning just allowing your breath to be smooth and even, and applying a quality of kindness. Sometimes if we're going about our days, sometimes we might start judging ourselves and we can be overly harsh. Noticing that in your practice is an opportunity to notice it as it arises, letting it be there. And also sometimes we need to shift it. We need to question that and allow for space for goodness and even practice goodness. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go start in standing like we usually do. Let me just make sure this is all. I'm going to turn the captions on. Okay. All right, everyone. So coming into a standing position, if that's possible for you. Some people, for some people, they like to start off practice in sitting. If you're overly exhausted, it's okay to lie down if you need to, just to get yourself settled before you come into movement. You're welcome to do the movement and sitting and lying down through this entirety and just kind of drift in and out. Just meeting yourself where you are is really what's most important and authentic. So we'll start first just by settling into the feet, feeling the contact of the feet on the earth. And allowing the eyes and the face, as the energy starts to settle into the body, to soften, allowing the face, the eyes maybe to soften into the sockets, and the eyes to rest on the horizon. And as the eyes start to settle, maybe even allowing the vision to widen a little bit so that you can experience the periphery, so the width of your vision, not just in front, but also to the sides. And you might even want to, if you'd like, just to bring the hands up and explore the outer edges of that vision without strain, just the natural width that is available to you for today. Like you can move the hands up and down, just getting a sense of where you see possibilities of that vision in a circle above, to the sides, and And then resting the hands by the sides, just noticing how some part of you might have tightened, maybe in the neck or the jaw. Just allowing that to soften. So as we continue, and we'll go into a warm up here, first we'll start with the breath, just allowing the breath to deepen. It helps sometimes when we start our practice to count the breath, meaning counting in the inhalation to the count of 4 and the exhalation out for the count of 4. So going ahead and just allowing for that gentle inhalation to the count of 4 and exhaling for the count of 4. And then maybe even bringing the hands up and just gently placing them at the area where the breath naturally seems to settle, where it naturally arises within the body. And then seeing if you can, if the hands are up near the chest, maybe allowing the hands to lower around the solar plexus, the area above the belly button. And see if you can gently allow the breath to come a little bit deeper without forcing, just noticing if the possibility exists. And if it's there, just exploring that. The breath, as we breathe in, naturally expands like a balloon in the front, as well as the back, the side bodies, and down into the pelvic floor. As you inhale, you're naturally, without even realizing it, expanding this balloon. The diaphragm, the major muscle, the breathing muscle, will contract and draw the lungs down and expand the balloon. And as we exhale, the diaphragm releases, the lungs move up, and everything comes back to center. The balloon deflates. So you can even just place the fingertips together in front of you. And as you inhale and exhale, just allowing the hands to move out as you inhale. And then as you exhale, coming back together. Just allowing for this gentle movement of hands coming apart as you inhale. And as you exhale, hands coming back together. And at any time, you're welcome if there's something happening within a particular movement or awareness that's occurring for you, welcome to pause, ignore what I say, and just continue in that exploration. We're going to continue moving forward, just allowing the hands to come down by the sides. And allowing the head now, so the eyes and the head start to turn towards the left as if you're looking over the left shoulder, coming back to face forward and looking over the right. So we'll do that 2 more times. Just allowing the eyes to drift along the horizon as the head turns. The eyes and the head, the neck turning as one. And coming back to center, pausing here for a moment before we move the head up and down. And in this movement, lifting the chin, the head looking up towards the ceiling, and then down towards the floor. And the eyes are tracing along in this line like an arc from the sky down through the midline, and then down towards the earth. Eyes tracing this arc. And doing this one more time. And coming back to center. And allowing the eyes, again, just to remember to soften them into the skull. It's like a meditation where we have to remind ourselves to start again. Allowing the eyes to soften, and this time we'll be bringing the left ear towards the left shoulder, and then back up and right ear to right shoulder. So very gentle, just moving the head from side to side. Just 2 more times here. And bringing the head back to center. And so from here, we're actually going to pause for a breath, but then start to move the eyes independent of the head. So from here, facing forward, just allowing the eyes to drift to the left and then to the right. And 2 more times to each side, left and right. And doing this slowly, noticing how you might skate over or speed up in certain parts of the range of motion. And coming back to center. And we'll move the eyes looking up, seeing if you can keep the chin still. Eyes moving up, down through the arc, eyes looking down, and very gently, slowly doing that movement, noticing how the head, you might want to move the head with the eyes, but seeing if you can just keep the head still as you move the eyes. And coming back to center. Allowing at any time a pause for a breath or 2 or 3. And from here, we're going to look up towards the upper left corner of the room and then down towards the lower right. But again, keeping the face facing forward. So we're just moving the eyes, working the range of motion for the eyes. And coming back to center, pausing here, just taking a moment to soften the eyes, the jaw, the back of the neck. And then looking up to the upper right and down to the lower left. If you feel at any point a type of curiosity that comes across you, I wonder what that is. It's okay to pause and listen to what your body is saying. Allow the eyes to come back to center. We'll pause here for a moment and just noticing how the movement of the eyes alone can create profound changes in the nervous system, even in the hips and the range of motion of the hips. And from here, we'll do some shoulder rolls, and we'll do them with the hands on the shoulders here. Bringing the elbows up in front and doing circles, moving forward with the elbows. With the limbs and the lower spine, I tend to do more repetitions. With the neck and the eyes, I do less, switching directions here. So just as a rule of thumb, just because the eyes and the neck are very sensitive, so you really want to be gentle and not overdo. And relax the arms down by the sides. Take a moment here just to shift our weight forward and back. So we're not trying to come up on the heels or come up on the toes, but just shifting onto the ball, into the heel of the foot, and just feeling the presence, the settling of the body. Maybe like a quarter settling into a gallon of water. And then pausing in the center, and sensing and feeling the contact of the feet with the earth. and allowing the body to be poised between the ball and the heel of the foot. You may notice that when you do that, the knees will naturally bend a little bit here. The thighs will engage. So the knees are softly bent, finding that middle space between the ball and the heel of the foot. And we're going to take a moment here, just placing the hands at the belly, the lower abdomen here. We're going to tuck the tailbone. So we're dropping the tailbone down towards the earth. And if you place the hands here and draw the belly up, that will help that movement just a little bit. Side view here. If you have a normal arch in the back. So if you have an arch in the back and you place the hands on the lower abdomen here. So as you exhale, we'll drop the tailbone, lift this lower abdomen up. And then inhale, releasing the belly. Exhale, draw the belly button up and in towards the spine as the tailbone tucks. So we'll do that a couple more times here. Just inhale, expanding. And then as you exhale, drawing the belly up, dropping the tailbone. And you'll notice that as you exhale and draw the belly button up and the tailbone drops, if you continue that movement to as far as it will go, the hip muscles will start to engage. See if you can, as you lift the belly button and the tailbone drops, see if you can squeeze the hips in towards the center, squeeze the buttocks. And release that. And we'll do that one more time. Exhale, draw the belly button up, tuck the tailbone, squeeze the buttocks. So from this movement, we're going to go into side bending of the waist. So what we want to do is have a placement of the pelvis somewhere in the middle between that tilting forward and the tucking of the tailbone. So as we exhale, we draw the belly button in, just drawing it in about halfway, the tailbone in about tucked about halfway. So we're in this center position, just like we're in the center position of the feet. And from here, the right hand is on the outer part of the right leg. We'll inhale, side bending over to the right. And then exhale, coming back up to center. Inhaling over to the left. Exhale back to center. And just every once in a while, taking a moment to notice the placement of your pelvis, making sure that it's in that nice middle position here, and side bending to the right, side bending to the left. One or two more times to each side. And I find it helps when I slide the hands in the outer part of the legs, because it gives us the nervous system information of not only the quality, but also just sensory awareness. It's a very calming thing. So from here, we're going to actually expand the spaces between the ribs, just allowing for greater depth of breath. So bringing the hands on top of the shoulders, we'll side bend over to the right again. And we'll pause here for 5 breaths. So inhaling, expanding the space between the ribs. And then exhaling, releasing here. So continuing to side bend. So the 5 breaths are in side bending. And if you'd like, you can imagine that balloon expanding. It's as if it's expanding between the space of the left armpit and the left outer hip. And turning the head to face down, doing 2 more breaths in this position, rotating the head to look down to the right. And then to come out of the position, turning the head to look left to up towards the sky and coming up, standing straight, releasing the hands for a moment and just noticing the length of the left versus the right side. And the hands to the shoulders again. We'll side bend again this time to the left, again, making sure that the pelvis is in that middle position here. And we're drawing that right elbow up towards the sky, breathing into the side ribs here. Expanding the balloon between the armpit and the hip on the right side. Turning to look down towards the left. And do come out of this, turning the head to the right and coming back to center. Releasing the hands down by the sides and noticing the quality and length of the side bodies. And maybe the overall quality of posture in the body. We're going to go into a rotational movement here, but starting off with a sun breath, a squat, and then the rotation. So we'll start first with the palms turning out. And as we inhale, drawing the arms up into the sun breath, the palms come towards each other. If you'd like, you can touch them together. And then drawing the energies of the sky down through the midline. Coming down into a squat here. And then reaching up, looking up, coming down through the midline and down into a squat. And we'll do 3 more of those, just getting this movement of the arms, the breathing, the bending of the knees. And then in this next series, we'll do 5 to each side of the rotation here. So as the hands come together, coming down through the midline, and then rotating to the left, keeping the chin lined up with the sternum, the middle of the chest, releasing the hands, coming back up, looking up, and then coming down, rotating to the right. And continuing the flow of that movement, keeping the hands and the chin centered with the chest, rotating from the lower spine. And the eyes might be searching for what to do. So just allowing them to drift and follow maybe the hands, or you can just allow them to move with the body. Keeping the width of the vision, the periphery. And 1 more, then pausing, standing with the hands at the heart in prayer position. As we pause and take in the quality of energy within our bodies and around us, You can take a moment to remember the prayers of the ancestors that have come before us, the ancestors of this land, the land upon which you dwell, the many people that lived there before thousands of years, and the prayers of your own lineage that have prayed you forward to this moment. That lineage may be of your blood, or it may be that of your chosen family. All those prayers have meaning. And releasing the hands by the side, we're going to shift now the weight over to the left leg and go into what's called a tree pose here. So becoming aware of the stance on the left leg, the thigh, the knee presses back just a little bit so you engage the thigh as you simultaneously squeeze the hip. So there's this equal and opposite pressing back of the knee and the hip pressing forward. You'll notice that when you engage the leg this way, that the other side becomes unweighted naturally. So we'll turn the right knee out and rest the heel of the right foot above the left ankle. Just resting it here for a moment. You can stay right here in this pose. If you'd like, you can bring the hands to the heart and allow the eyes to soften and to rest on the horizon. If you're feeling like you need even more calm or a little bit more settling, you can bring the gaze down into the lower third of your visual field. Just gazing on a point in front of you, maybe 10 feet in the floor, on the floor in front. For those of you who like or need or are used to doing this position, you can also slide the foot up to the inner calf or above the knee to the groin. Just making sure that you don't rest the foot or the heel at the knee or the joint line, as that area has poor stability. And seeing what you can let go of. If you can settle into the hips a little bit more, relax the foot. And releasing the foot as needed and the hands. Just pausing for a moment, noticing the shift and changes between the left and the right side. And from here, shifting over to the right side again, engaging the right thigh. So pressing that right knee back, pressing the right hip forward. So there's this engagement of the thigh, the quadricep and the hamstring and the gluteal muscles. And turning the left foot, the left knee out to the left, resting the left heel on the inner right ankle. Again, pausing here. Resting the gaze. And this time, in this particular position, it can be helpful actually to let go of the width of the vision and to focus on a point. If you'd like to move the foot up the leg, you're welcome to do so, keeping the position of the hip, the engagement of the hip and the thigh, solid, rooted, the trunk of the tree. And releasing the hands and the foot. Again, pausing here for a moment. If you started to build up tension in your feet at all, sometimes it helps, or just even still from the day, just doing a few ankle rolls here might be helpful just to release any buildup of tension. Circles in one direction and then switching. And switching sides. So we're going into a lunge position. So making sure you go to the top of your space so that you have plenty of space behind you. And you are, of course, like I said before, welcome to do this in sitting. And if you feel uncomfortable with stepping backwards, you can also step forward. So this movement where we shift the weight over to the left leg, and we're going to step back with the right. You can also do this so that you're facing the space and step forward with the left leg. So finding that movement that feels safe and good for you, and taking some time just to allow the body to settle between the left and the right legs. The left knee is positioned over the ankle, not tilted in or out, just facing straight forward. Again, this is a place where you might want to bring the hands to the lower belly and draw up just a little bit. As you do that, maybe press back with that right knee, and you'll notice that that will open some space in the right hip. As you do this movement, start to allow the chest to rise, lifting through the top of the head. Now, when I make these suggestions for movement, it's nice to explore them. This is not a forced march, or you don't have to hold it tightly so you can't breathe. If you're not able to breathe fully, then do less. So from here, if you're able to hold this position, we'll move the arms up if it's available to you, just inhaling, reaching up. If you'd like, you can keep the hands here and pause for 5 breaths with the arms overhead, or you can flow with the arms, exhaling with the arms down, sweeping up on the inhale. And then we'll pause here, facing forward, arms in the air. Release the left hand down to the left thigh. Turning the body now towards the right. As you turn the body to the right, reach out with that right hand as if you're trying to reach back. Bring somebody, reach out for somebody, and then bringing the arm down along the side body, and then turning to look forward again. The arm comes up. And we'll do that rotation again, reaching back, arm down, and we'll do that 3 more times. And switching directions. Now the arm is sweeping back and up and forward. The whole trunk is moving here. So the idea here is the movement is not just at the shoulder, it's really through the spine, all the way up to the fingers. And last one here. As we rotate and bring the arm back up overhead, turn the body to face forward and float the left arm up. Pausing here for a breath, and then we'll turn towards the left. As we turn towards the left, let the arms come down so that the left hand comes back along the tailbone or the outer left hip, and the right hand on the outer left thigh, pressing back with that right heel and the right knee. Relaxing the feet, spreading the balls of the feet. And this last breath, exhaling, coming back to face forward, both hands at the thigh. And in your next round of breaths, the exhalation, tilt forward over the left thigh and step your feet together. And we'll pause here, just noticing the effect through the body. So switching to the other side now. Shifting weight right. Again, balancing here, the right knee is pressing back as the right hip presses forward. And bringing the left knee up and straight back. And taking a moment, again, balancing the weight between the left and the right legs. Squeezing the hips, engaging these hip muscles so the hips are squeezed in towards the center body. As you do that, there is sometimes a tendency to draw the right knee out. Just make sure, look down if you need to make sure that the knee is over the ankle. It's all a balance here. Taking a moment to bring the hands to the lower belly here, maybe drawing up a little bit as you drop the tailbone and press that left knee back. Lifting through the chest here, inhaling the arms up, and exhaling out wide. And this last one, arms moving up, pausing for a breath here, settling the body. And bringing that right hand down to the right thigh, rotating the body now towards the left, reaching back with that left hand and sweeping it forward, rotating up and back. And switching directions. And coming back to face forward, floating both arms up. Taking a breath here. And then rotating the body to the right, turning the body, right hand on the tailbone, left hand on the outer right thigh, pressing back with that left knee. And then breathing into the side ribs here. Allowing that balloon to expand as you inhale and deflate as you exhale. And turning the body to face forward, keeping the hands at the thigh, bending forward over the right thigh, and stepping the feet together. So we're going to go into a seated position now. So for those of you who can sit on the floor, you want to make sure that you have your hips are higher than the knees. And the right shin is in front of the left. And the reason why we want the hips to be a little higher than the knees so that the knees aren't popped up like this. When the knees are popped up, then the back rounds and the spine and the body has to exert effort to sit. So you want to be able to sit so that the knees are lower than the hips. That keeps the shoulders stacked over the hips. If you find that this feels really impossible, you're welcome to sit in a chair. Sit towards the edge of the chair with your feet flat on the floor. The class I taught on Monday, I demonstrated it that way. So if you have questions about that, you can refer to that video. For today, I'm showing us sitting on the floor, right shin in front of the left. We're going to do a pigeon pose. So if you're sitting on the chair, just bring the right ankle on top of the left knee. And pause here for a moment, sensing and feeling the sit bones pressing on the chair or in the earth, establishing a new relationship, a new contact with the bones of our body and the earth. Take a moment to soften the face, the eyes. And we'll start to move back and forth here a little bit, keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips. So this is what we call hinging, meaning that the spine, it's as if the hips are the hinge, and we're moving the top body, the upper body, back and forth like a doorway over the legs. And you'll notice that there are bones, the sit bones, pressing. From here, pausing and forward so that we're hinged forward here now. You'll notice that there is a stretch in the outer right hip when you do this. Start to walk the hands forward, resting the arms, if you're sitting in the chair, on the calf and knee. If you're on the floor, seeing if you can bring the arms down towards the floor, and eventually the back does start to round, and bringing the head forward and letting the head hang. In this place, this inward drawing position, imagining the breath in the back body, the back ribs expanding, the back balloon expanding as you inhale, and as you exhale, deflating back to center. And very carefully, gently pressing yourself back up into sitting, pausing here for a moment. Then sliding the left hand along the outer left thigh, rotating the body to the right. As you continue to slide that left hand, bring the right hand over to the outer left thigh and place the heel of the left hand behind the left hip, lifting through the chest as you rotate to the left. The chin stays centered over the chest. And breathing deeply into this lower right rib cage, both hips pressing down to the earth. Relaxing the face, maybe allowing for a slight smile, which this little Mona Lisa smile tells the nervous system that it's okay. At this moment, things are okay. And gradually releasing that, coming back to face center, pausing here for a moment, releasing the legs if you're sitting in the chair so that both feet are flat. And switching legs now. So if you're sitting on the floor, left shin in front of the right. And if you're sitting on the chair, the left ankle is now on top of the right knee. Right foot is flat on the ground. Again, hinging back and forth, feeling the sit bones and how it might have shifted in some way just by changing the legs, seeing if you can keep both hips grounded on its surface. And starting to hinge forward over the thighs here. As you hinge forward, lift through the chest a little bit so that you can feel the stretch localized in the left hip. And when you can't go any further, then start to allow the chest and the chin to come forward. Breathing into the back body. And then very carefully, gently pressing yourself back up into sitting. Pausing for a breath here. Number two. And allowing the body to turn to the right, sliding that right hand along the right thigh, left hand on the outer right thigh until the body rotates to the right and the heel of the right hand presses down behind the right hip, lifting through the chest and pressing that left sit bone down as much as the right towards the earth. Breathing into the side rib here. And releasing the hands, coming back, facing forward. And we'll pause here for a couple of moments, about 30 seconds, a minute or so. If you'd like, you can finish your practice with a shavasana lying on the floor, or you can finish in sitting. Either way, this is the most important part of our practice, the integration, the bringing together of the flow of the body, the contraction and the relaxation, allowing the body time to settle and the breath to settle. Way for the transition to the next phase of our evening, however that might be for you. Just taking a moment just to allow for the fingers to wriggle, doing some rolls with the wrists, letting the head turn from side to side, and the eyes to gently open. Bring the intentions and prayers, even if not conscious, that have brought you forward, offering gratitude and joy for the presence of all of us here together. Looking forward to celebrating the new year with all of you and continuing our practice together. Namaste, everyone. Blessings to you.
Namaste, Rita.